And letting yourself feel the nature of the support, the floor beneath you, whatever that material, the floor is fairly level, flat surface. Feel the weight of your head on the floor, your shoulder blade, your sacrum, soles of your feet, the back of your arms and elbows. The contact between you and the floor. And of course, under the floor are the foundations of your building, the earth. Feeling in contact with that earth. Grounded. Good. And then either roll over to your side or you can cross your feet at your ankles and come up to sitting with your feet out in front and hands behind. We're going to take the left leg underneath the right and roll over onto your left hip bone and lift your right arm up nice and high. You might even feel like you can lift your hips up, so if that feels doable. Let the right arm fall back and really open the chest. Good. And then we come back down to sitting. And we'll do the second side. So both feet go out in front, hands behind, right leg under the left leg. Just roll over onto your right hip and lift up the left arm. And you might feel like lifting higher, so hips can lift up and the left arm reaches out behind and the chest opens. Good. Back to sitting. And back to that central position, all four limbs touching the floor. Good. Left. Oh, excuse me. Left foot under the right leg and lift up the right arm and roll onto your left hip. The hips come up. That's great. Right arm back. And we're going to keep going from side to side. Just letting the body open in such a way that feels nourishing for you this morning. Feeling those points of contact of your body and the floor. The groundedness and the opening of this movement. And last one. Nice breath. And then all fours. We're going to make circles around the wrists with the shoulders. Put your knees where they feel like they're the right distance or a good distance. And we'll spread the fingers out nice and wide, press the fingerprints. We'll go in the other direction. See if you can press the base of your index fingers down. Elbows are a little bit bent. And we can feel that work in the upper arm muscles, above the elbows on the outside of the arm. Good. And then take forward virasana, the big toes touching and hips back as far as your hips and your knees allow, and lengthen the sides of your waist. Breathing deeply. Nice. Back up into all fours. And knees hip width. Tuck the toes under and lift your knees just off the floor. You can feel the core of the body really has to work here to look after the spine. And keep the fingerprints pressing down. And we're just going to try and make those little circles this time around the wrists. No need to overdo that. Good. Other direction. Much more weight into the wrist this time. So keep your elbows a little bit bent. Good. And then releasing and forward virasana. Feel the contact between your body and the floor. Fronts of the feet, legs, knees, hands. Feel the nourishing breath. Good. And then elbows down onto the floor. Walk the knees back a little bit, give yourself some room. We're going to tuck the toes under again and knees lifting up off the floor. Good. And then we're going to try and draw little circles with the knees around the mat, not quite touching the floor. We're pressing down through the fingers. And the other direction. Nice work. Take your knees out wide. Forward virasana. Letting the back of the body broaden and lengthen, the back of the neck lengthen. Allowing more space between the shoulder blades. Good. And then we're going to take a little downward facing dog pose. So bring the knees in, stretch your fingers out nice and wide. We want that good pressure through the fingerprints. Tuck the toes under. We'll lift the hips high. Keep the knees bent and lift the heels high and let your head just hang down. See if you can shake your head a little. And then pressing down your heels. Maybe even paddling the feet a little bit from side to side. Left heel down, right heel down. Good, and then we're going to walk forward to the front of the mat. So take little steps. And roll up. Oh, and as you roll up, bring the arms up. Feel the body lengthen and lift from the grounding of the feet right up through the fingertips. And then Tadasana. Close your eyes and feel your feet. And just swing forward and back a little bit. Find yourself coming to center, front to back of the feet. And then swing a little from side to side. Or sway. Good, back to center. Great. And then we're going to turn around side on onto the mat. Now you might like a chair in front of you just to help you with your balance. We're going to do some traditional, some classic yoga standing poses. We'll start in Tadasana. I'm going to start with the feet together. And close your eyes again for a moment and just that gentle sway forward and back, finding your center. Even adjust your feet so you feel like you've got the best surface area to the floor. And then side to side. We also want to experience the lift of those parts of the feet away from the floor that we need to be able to lift. Inner arches of the feet. That area behind the base of each toe, knuckle, lifting. So there's a feeling of almost being able to jump straight up. Good, and lengthen the front of the torso, lift the hips. Take the tops of the shoulders back, shoulder blades down, top of the head reaches up. Tadasana. Bring your hands in front of your heart, press them. Good. Jump out lightly or heavily to about your own leg length distance with your feet. And we'll turn the feet out, so probably look opposite to you, to the left side. So left foot turns out 90 degrees, right foot turns in about 30 degrees-ish. Heel lines up with the center of your right foot inner arch. That one's very important. And we're going to start by just wiggling the hips around. Good. Noticing if there is awkwardness to that movement. Maybe it feels more like it's a series of straight lines rather than curves. Okay. Now, where we're going to end up with that is try to bring your hips level to the floor and then try to do the opposite and really bend in your left hip crease. And we're going to start to lean the torso or reach the torso over the left leg. Remember, I look opposite. We're going to press the arm. Good. And come into your Trikonasana. And what we're trying to do in Trikonasana is not be a banana shape for the ribs. So actually make a banana shape so you can feel that nice big stretch of the skin, but then we're going to relax the skin by bringing the right ribs, so the ribs on top, down towards the floor so that the skin feels relaxed. Good, and we're going to lift the kneecaps and reach that upper arm, the right arm back, and look up at the ceiling. And find your breath. And we're going to press right into the feet. Feel that groundedness. Feel the core of the body. So when you lift your torso, lots of support for the spine. Nice work. Bring the hands in front of the heart, press them, and turn your feet around to the second side. Line your right heel up with the center of the left foot inner arm. Good. And we're going to try and make a circle, sort of a belly dancing circle with the hips. Noticing what that feels like, the movement, whether it feels curvy or straight lines. Other direction. All right, and then standing upright, try and bring your hips level to the floor. And then try and do the opposite. We're going to drop the right hip and lift the left hip. So as you do that, the torso can't help but reach out over the right leg. Good. Make your banana shape with your spine so that your left ribs really stretch. And then see if you can relax that in. Draw the left ribs down, so lengthen the spine. And we'll take the left arm up. So with the spine feeling long, the hips feeling supple, we're going to take that left arm back and open the heart towards the ceiling. Lift the kneecaps, lift the quadriceps. Find the nourishing breath. Watch that feeling of the shoulder blades squashing the back of the head. So draw the shoulder blades towards your back waist. And then inhale. And come up. Hands in front of the heart. Press the hands. Turn the feet back to the first side. Okay, we're warmed up now. So we'll take the arms out from the shoulders. Drop the left hip. Reach the left ribs. And reaching into Trikonasana. Have that feeling of both sides of the waist long. We're going to take the right arm back and roll the right rib back, the right hip back, holding your balance. Feeling that connection of your feet to the floor, strong legs, lift the kneecaps, and breathing satisfyingly. Good, and powerful core awareness as you lift up. Good, and swap the feet to the last side. So arranging your feet, strong leg, lifting the right arm and right ribs over the right leg, Trikonasana. Feel the groundedness of your feet, strong legs, lifting the kneecap. Take the left hip back, left rib roll back, looking up. Make sure the shoulders aren't lifting up, so draw them back. Good, use the core awareness. So when you lift, there's lots of support for the spine. Nice work. Hands in front of the heart. Turn the feet to the front. And jump or step back to feet together, Tadasana. I didn't quite make it. Good, find a lift in the front body. Feel the feet grounded. But how long the body can feel, how tall, and draw the shoulder blades down. Enjoying taking up space. Good. Bring the hands in front of the heart, press them. We're going to step or jump out to wider legs than before. Turn your left foot out at 90 degrees. We're going to bend the left knee. We're going to press the outside edge of the right foot. Good. Let's see if we can make circles with the hips again, belly dancing style. Other direction. Okay, and then try to roll your right hip back as you bend your left knee, pressing the arms. We're going to take the hands now out from the shoulders. Warrior two. Feel the curve of your spine, both side to side and front to back. Let's see if we can get the back feeling longer. So lift the belly a little bit more. Try to lengthen both sides of the waist. So as the hips drop, we lengthen the sides of the waist. Draw the shoulder blades down. Lift the breastbone. Find the breath to be satisfying. Good. We're going to take the right hand down onto your right leg and lift the left arm and looking up. Nice. And then we're going to take the left hand down onto the left knee or the elbow onto the knee and go in the other direction. Right arm by the right ear. And we'll turn the rib, right rib back, lifting the heart. Good, and then inhale. And come up and straighten your leg. Good, and we're going to change the feet to the second side. Bending the right knee. Bring the hands in front of the heart, press them. See if you can make some little belly dancing circles with your hips. reminding ourselves to be supple, other direction. Good, and then find your good leg position with your leg bent, right leg bent. Lift the pelvic floor. Look at the shape of the core. So from side to side, front to back. Lift the belly a little bit more, lengthen the lower back. Lift the sides of the waist. Hands at the heart. Hands out from the shoulders. Looking over your right fingertip. Warrior two. Feel the connection of your feet to the floor. So as the hips drop, the pelvic floor lifts. The core of the body as even as you can, lifting. Good. Left hand down onto the left leg. Reach the right arm up. Right ribs lengthen. Looking up. Good. And then we're going to reverse the upper body. Take the right hand or elbow down onto the right knee and left arm by the left ear. Straight overhead. Roll the left ribs back. Press into the feet. Lift through the legs. Lift through the pelvic floor. Breathing. Good. And then inhale. And coming up. Nice. Feet back to the front. And jump or wiggle. Back to Tadasana. That was a long way. Feet together. Just finding the surface area of your feet and the lift of the body. Take up space. Upper arms roll out. Top of the head lifts. Good. Now, you might like the back of the chair in front of you so you can hold on to that for tree pose. We're going to take the right toes out to the side. And remember, you can practice this with your toes, or both sets of toes on the floor, or you can lift up your right toes off the floor. Or you might even be able to place your leg higher. So finding that position for your right foot. But we want that feeling that the front of the hips are opening wide. Good. And that the sides of the waist are lengthening. You can either have the hands in front of your heart or holding your chair, or take them up by the ears. And lengthen. Reach through the fingertips. Lengthen the back of the neck, the throat. Ooh. And breathing. Good. And then release that side. And turning out the left toes. So you can keep your toes on the floor there, left toes on the floor. Or you can lift your foot higher. Finding the hips level to the floor. I haven't done this for a while. Hips level to the floor. Sides of the waist long. Draw the shoulder blades down. And you can take your arms up by your ears. From the groundedness of that leg, standing leg, feel the sides of the waist lengthen. Find the satisfying breath. Good, and then release. We're going to take, I'll turn sideways so you can see. Feet under the hips for Tadasana. And we're going to make a forward bend. Take the arms up to start with, Urdhva Hastasana. Lengthen the sides of the waist, the front of the torso. Keep the front of the torso long. And come into Uttanasana. Just far enough so you can start to feel the bend in the back of the leg. even bend the straightening or the stretch in the back of the leg, but you can bend your knees. You might be able to reach your torso further out with the knees bent. Feel what part of your feet are in contact with the floor. Maybe part of the feet feel heavier. You can even that up. Breathing deeply. Part of the feet not in contact with the floor, like behind the base of the toes, the inner arch of the foot. Even there's a little outer arch of the foot halfway along. If you feel that lifting, the kneecaps lifting, the inner arches lifting, the inner ankle bones lifting, the inside of the knees lifting, the sit bones lifting, breathing. The stretch is evident in the legs here. But there's an ease to the shape of the spine, a length to the neck. The shoulder blades are reaching back, the neck is lengthening, no feeling of pressure, and breathing. Good, press into the heels, lift yourself up. Inhale, look up. Urdhva Hastasana. Good, and as you exhale, Tadasana. Good. Now, we're going to take a forward bend again, and either your hands are going to be on the floor or on the seat of your chair. But we're trying to keep all those lovely points of posture with the upper body, so bones of the spine embedding forward. Just wiggle your feet in so the inside edges are touching. Good, and your legs can be as bent as you need to be to keep your spine long. You can straighten your legs if you have that kind of movement. Good, and then we're going to lift the kneecaps. Feel again there's a spring to the feet, so as though you could spring up off the floor. We're going to really use the internal muscular support of the pelvic floor. We're going to try and lift the right foot just straight up off the floor. Or at least lighten the load. Good, and then place that one back down. Good, and then try to lift the left foot straight up off the floor. So really feeling the core of the body. Good, and then place that one back down. And then rolling off. Arms up, little back bend here. Take the arms behind you. Hold your wrists or forearms or elbows, making your back bend. You've got the feet together. Try that forward bend without losing the back bend. Uttanasana. In the classic style, with feet together. Try to take the elbows back. Feel how that relieves the neck. Breathing deeply. Beautiful. And then release your arms. And we're going to sit down, so you decide how you're going to manage that and enjoy that. Nothing like sitting on the floor. Good health. All right, we'll take a blanket and sit up onto the blanket. Put your legs so they're comfortable. I've got a simple cross leg, but you might have legs out straight or semi-straight. Okay, let's take the rib cage around the pelvis and then other direction. Reminding ourselves of how supple the joints can be. And coming back to center. We're going to turn to the right side for Sukhasana, Parivrtta Sukhasana. And bringing your yogic awareness to that movement. You feel what the breath is doing in your body and notice that in fact, with each exhalation, you have a whole lot more room to move. Good. Now we're going to stay turning. Keep your left hand. Oh, sorry, I didn't say which direction we were going. I've got my left hand on my right leg. So I'm going to pick up the arm that's behind me, the right arm up by the right ear. And then I'm going to lean over the left leg. I'm leaning over the leg I don't have my hand onto. And not trying to make a banana shape with the spine, but to keep that nice evenness to both sides of the ribs and keeping the pelvic floor lifting, feeling like there's support to that movement and only moving as far as is necessary to feel nourishing. So that might only be a small way if you feel like you're at risk of overstretching. It might be a long way. Finding the breath. Good, and then inhale. Coming. Nice work. Change the cross of the leg. And Sukhasana, twist to the second side. Find the breath. And that ability to move more deeply. When you follow the breath. Understanding that comes to the mind, body, with the breath. Good. Now we're going to hold the twist, but take the arm up that's behind you by your ear. Good. And then you're going to reach your torso over the leg that doesn't have the hand on it. And we're going to reach the sides of the waist and try to keep them even, lifting the pelvic floor, turning the ribs so the heart is opening upwards. And of course, you only need to go as far as feels nourishing to the body. Good, and then inhale. Coming up. Releasing. Come back to center. Sitting tall. And finding the suppleness of the spine in a little spinal wave movement. Coming back up to the top of that movement, feeling tall, supple. Good. And then laying down. So keep the length of the spine as you lay down. We're going to press into the feet and lift the hips. And just lower back down again. This time as you lift your hips, really aware of those joints between the sacrum and the lower vertebra. So we'll lift up nice and slow. Good. Keep going and try to get a picture or a feeling of every single joint, the suppleness of the spine. Really press into your feet. Use your buttock muscles, press them towards each other. Lift the thighs and then lowering down. Finding every little bit of movement. Good. We're going to keep the legs feeling powerful and lift up again. Let's see if you can find every little bit of movement. Gleaning every suppleness you can from the spine, every supple feeling. And coming back down, powerful legs still. They'll feel like they're working. Good. And supple spine, lifting again. I'm even trying to wiggle my hips a little bit from side to side as I lift, exploring that feeling of easy movement. And back down. Good. Nice work. Now, we're going to pick the feet up off the floor, cross your feet at your ankles, and try to get your feet really close to the line of your sit bones or your hips. So the feet are even underneath the buttock muscles. And then we let the knees down to the floor. And there should be a little bit of a stretch in the front of the thighs, front of the hips. Good. And we'll take the arms overhead. You can just keep those soft elbows if you like, or you can take them out straight if you have them. Taking some deep breaths. If you like this feeling, but it's not intense enough, you can do the same thing, but with a blanket under the hip. Good, and then we're going to release that side. So I'll just show you the blanket variation on the second side. If you put that under your hips, same thing though. You pick your feet up off the floor, cross your ankles the other way. Did I do that? Ankles the other way, and feet go underneath the sit bones, and then you lower down. Good. So you might find that better equipment use for you, or maybe it's too strong. So just depends on how your muscles have been working lately. And letting go. And we have more of a complex feeling here with what parts of the body are touching the floor. See if you can find them. Good. And then we'll release that side. Hugging your knees into your chest, rocking a little bit from side to side. We're just going to let the legs roll all the way over to the left and the right arm and shoulder blade of the floor. Good. Powerfully bring your attention to your pelvic floor and the core of the body as you lift your leg, and let them roll all the way over to the right. Left arm stays down, left shoulder blade stays down. Good. And really powerful use of the core of the body to support your back when you come back up. Nice. And rocking a little from side to side. And if you would like to stay in Shavasana, please do. You don't have to say goodbye. I know you're there. And namaste to you. And if you need to finish your practice, rolling up to sitting, taking the feeling of this with you. Namaste. And thank you for joining me today.